السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome again, grade 8. Today's lesson, inshallah, will be lessons number 5 and 6 of Unit 9, Rivers and Coasts. The title of the lesson is Saved by the Bell. Let's move to the objectives of our lesson today. Our lesson objectives are: after finishing this class, you have to be able to understand the details of a story. You have to give your opinions about the story. You have to write a summary about the topic. The first part of our lesson today, or the opening question: what is a tsunami? What do you know about tsunami? What the information that you know about tsunami? What are they? Tsunami is a series of waves caused by earthquakes or undersea volcanic eruptions. So a tsunami is a big wave caused by earthquake. Exercise number 1, reading. While you are reading, note the use of prepositions of places. Okay? This is the language tab of our lesson today. Look at the title of the article below. How do you think the girl saved the islanders? Read the article once to find out. The title is 12-year-old girl saves islanders from tsunami. Let's read the text together. Robinson Crusoe is the largest of the islands which make up the Juan Fernandez archipelago of the coast of Chile. At 6 a.m. on Saturday, 27th February 2010, in San Juan Bautista, the island's only town, 12-year-old Martina Maturana felt an earth tremor. She looked out of the window and noticed that the fishing boats in the harbor were bobbing up and down and crashing into each other. She immediately ran 400 meters from her home to the town square to ring the emergency bell. It was Martinez's quick thinking which saved the lives of the majority of the 650 islanders. The 8.8 magnitude earthquake of the coast of Chile caused a massive tsunami wave. A few minutes later, a wall of water crashed onto the land and swept 300 meters into the village. Only the people who ran to high ground were safe. The houses and buildings on the island that were close to the coast were immediately destroyed, including the school at which Martina studied. The wave was 20 meters high, said one man whose house was destroyed by the tsunami. It was terrifying. He described the wave by saying it was terrifying. Notice the new vocabulary of this lesson because you are going to have a quiz at the end of this class about the vocabulary of this lesson, okay? So the first question, how do you think the girl saved the islanders? She felt the earthquake when she saw the fishing boats were bobbing up and down. She ran immediately and rang the emergency bell. That's how she saved the islanders. The next exercise. Exercise number 2. Read the article again and answer the questions. When did the earthquake take place? Look at your book to find out the answer. When, it means the time. When here means the time. It happened in on Saturday, 27th February, exactly at 6 a.m. This is the answer for number 1. How strong was the earthquake? How strong was it? It was 8.8 magnitude. How did Martina know there was going to be a tsunami? When she saw the fishing boats moving up and down and crashing to each other. This is the answer. The last question. What did the islanders do when they heard the alarm? They ran to a high ground. This is the second exercise. Write the answers at your course book. After that, we have an exercise about the grammar structure that we have here, defining relative clauses. If you remember that we have learned at the previous lesson about non-defining relative clauses, here we are going to speak about the defining relative clauses. They are the same. We use who and that for a person, that and which for a thing or animal, where for a place, whose to talk about possession. So what is the difference between the defining and non-defining relative clauses? The non-defining, as we have learned, they doesn't if we have a non-defining relative clause in the sentence, it's the same if we don't have, or when we remove the non-defining relative clause from the sentence, the meaning of the sentence doesn't change. This is the non-defining, none. But the defining relative clause has its meaning in the sentence. I can't remove it, and if we removed it, the meaning of the sentence would change. Okay? So defining relative clauses define exactly what you are talking about and can't be left out. For example, when I say Hagar is a teacher, she is teaching us English. These are two sentences. I want to join them together. I will say, to make them one sentence, Hagar is an English teacher who teaches us at school, or who is teaching us at school. Here we removed she and we replaced it with who. It refers to Hagar. Okay, this is defining relative clause. If we removed it from the sentence, the meaning will change. But if you remember that when we said the non-defining relative clause, for example, scientists who believe that, if we said scientists believe that, the sentence has the same meaning. With the relative clause and without it, the sentence has its meaning. But here, if we removed the pronoun, the sentence will change. Okay, the meaning of the sentence will change. That's the difference between the non-defining and the defining relative clauses. The next part. Complete the questions below with the correct relative pronoun. Then ask and answer the questions in pairs. We are going to use the relative pronouns, the defining relative pronouns, to complete the sentences or the questions. Number 1. What is the name of the Chilean island? I'm talking about a place. So we are going to use where there was a disaster in 2010. How strong was the earthquake? I'm talking about thing. So we are going to use which or that caused the tsunami wave off the coast of Chile. What is the name of the girl? I'm talking about a person. So I'm going to use, very good, who saved the people of the island. What did the islander house was destroyed? I'm talking about someone who is own a house. So we are talking about possession. We will use whose house. What did the islander whose house was destroyed by the tsunami say? What did he say? The last question. How high were the waves? How high were the waves? I'm talking about the thing. So we are going to use that or which were caused by the earthquake. Here we have 5 questions. I want you to answer them in your course book and send me the answer on the group, okay? And we will discuss this question, retell Martina Maturana's story in theirs. This was the last part of our lesson for today. Have a good day. All the best, your teacher Hagar. And don't forget, stay home to stay safe.